Well, hello there. Hello, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to Loretta Coleman Live. We certainly hope that you had a great day. We hope that things happened the way you wanted it to happen, and whether you was at work, home, on vacation, or wherever you are, we certainly do hope that you had an outstanding day. Now, we are going to have a guest that's going to come on momentarily. And let me say to you all, I received a note this morning, and this is what this show is going to be about. I received a note this morning in my inbox, and the young lady asked me to do a show on depression because she said that she was just about to quit. She said she was just about to give it all up. So she asked me, would I do a show tonight on depression? So Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, um, Periscope, and I'm missing one. Wherever you're viewing from, we want you to chime in whenever the questions are asked because we need your help. Now, she's going to be listening. She won't come on here, but she's going to be listening, and we need to help this young lady. Hey, Miss Mabel Williams, how you doing? Hello, this is my first time with you live. I enjoy all Pastor Sean Jones music and video and his preaching. Well, thank you so very much, Stephanie. I appreciate it. Hi, Miss Loretta. I'm tuned in. I need help also. Okay. And that's what we're here for. So let me bring my guest. I asked the pastor I asked her to join me tonight because I don't know it all. But what we're here for, we're here to help people when people are in need. And when this lady said she was depressed and she was just about to end it, I had to call, I had to get help because we want her to know that she can make it. We want her to know she can make it. So we have Pastor Alice Williams Ellison, the pastor of the new Greater William Street Baptist Church. I got
Exactly.
it right. And she is very knowledgeable of what we're going to be talking about, and she's going to help us out. And then we're going to talk about her event that she got coming up this weekend. But we want to first give attention to this young lady. Okay, she said she need help too. Hey, Brenda. Hello, hello. So what we're going to do, depression. Some people say it's not real. Some people say if you're depressed, you're living a defeated life. Some people feel as though if you say you're depressed, is that you're giving the devil the credit. That's what some people believe. But the truth be told, depression is very real. But there is help. There is help. There is help. There is help. Hey, Miss Virginia. So we're gonna
Hey.
let Pastor Ellison introduce herself, and we're just gonna let her talk to you for a few moments about that topic.
Thank you, Reverend Coleman. I am Pastor Alice Williams Ellison of the Greater New William Street Baptist Church over on Middleton Street. And you said something that was very powerful, just opening up, is that it's real. Depression is very, very real. An expert, very knowledgeable, not because of something that I heard or something that someone told me, but because I have dealt with depression firsthand. And one thing I do know about depression, it has no respect to person that it will jump on. And so as a pastor, as leaders on the forefront, a lot of times we're ashamed to confess that we deal with depression. And it's because we know the word, we know who God is, and we are believers. And so if we're telling you to have the faith and don't give up and this and that, how in the world can depression come upon us? Well, depression is real. As far as being an expert, I will say yes, I am, because I have dealt with depression firsthand. And so, if it's okay, Reverend Coleman, I'm going to share a little bit about what depression has done to me. And one thing about depression, it comes with different faces. It comes in different sizes. So there is no one indicator that can be pinpointed to say you have depression. And so my depression came about when I lost my mom. And when I lost my mom, I actually preached my mom's service. And I had it all together for putting the packet together and all of this stuff. I preached her homegoing. And as soon as the homegoing was over, it was like I lost it. I lost it. It was like it was an out of body experience for me. And one of the things that I realized with my depression is that I didn't wash. I didn't want to take a bath. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to deal with anyone. But I could still get up and preach the word of God. So one would say, you're not depressed. But yeah, I was depressed. And so what I soon found out, Reverend Coleman, is that depression is an illness. And a lot of times people like to brush it and push it and sweep it under the rug and say that you're putting on and there's nothing really wrong with you. You can just get yourself together. I learned that depression, when one suffers with depression, your body, your mind, everything on the inside of you is chemically off balance. And there are some things that's needed to bring it back chemically aligned. And so for those of you that's dealing with depression, for those of you that may think that there is depression there, don't ignore it. There is help. There is someone that has been through it. There is someone that can help you through your depression. With depression, I will say this to those that's suffering with it and feel like there's no way out. Let me tell you, giving up is not an option. It's not an option for you, because there's help for you. There is people that has been through depression that's able to help you come out of it. Um, I consider myself to be a individual, very strong individual. And when depression came upon me, there was a sense of feeling weak, vulnerable, all alone. But I came out of it. I came out of it with the help. I came out of it with talking. I came out
Mhm.
of it with the medication. Depression brings about anxiety attacks. If you never had one, then
Lord have mercy.
please don't talk about, ain't no such thing. Anxiety attacks. It bring about panic attacks. It brings about a lot of things. Depression has a lot of different sisters and brothers attached to it that will attack your body. And so um, I came on tonight with Reverend Coleman to be an outlet, to let that young lady know that giving up cannot be an option for you on tonight. It cannot be an option. There is help for you. There is people that has been there that can help you through this depression.
Mhm. Whew. As I'm putting these different responses up, we see that a lot of people are dealing. And
Mhm.
Pastor Ellison, one of the things is people are afraid to let people know where they are at, because we don't like to listen at what they're saying. We like to preach to them,
Mhm.
and we won't hear. Sometimes the only thing a person need us to do is listen, but
Mhm.
we want to quote scriptures to them. Quoting scriptures is okay, but sometimes all that person need is for somebody to listen um, to them.
That's
And
all.
you shared your experience. I have been challenged with depression since 2013, and mine came from trauma, body trauma, and going through 7 surgeries in 15 months, and having to learn how to walk again, and having to retire from a job that I loved and couldn't remember um, things back, couldn't even remember my passwords to my bank account. Went back to work, sit at my desk, Pastor Ellison. Couldn't
Mhm.
even remember how to turn the computer on. When they got the computer on, I couldn't remember password. It was just like I was starting a new job. And
Mhm.
that started the screen of depressions and panic attacks. And those that know me know I don't magnify depression, but I let people know that it's real. And they are
Mhm.
help. There's help out there. And we can go get help, just like the doctors. God give us dentists, he gives
Mhm.
us orthodontists. He gives us um,
Exactly.
whatever kind of doctor, lung doctor, specialist. Well, he gives us psychiatrists. And I see one. I see a psychiatrist. And it has helped me. And God blessed me with a born again believer psychiatrist. And okay, what was I saying now? Um, and I take 5 medications a day. Now, I'm sharing this because most people say, I ain't gonna take that medicine because that medicine make you look like you crazy. That medicine make you act like you crazy. Ain't nothing crazy about Loretta. And I act just like the same Loretta. Yes, they're gonna have to fit it. You might have to keep changing it and changing it until you get the right one. But it helps me. Now, Pastor Ellison, I am a mess when I don't take it,
Mhm. Mhm.
because those chemical imbalance to
Chemical
my right
imbalance.
brain, that
Mhm.
chemical imbalance don't work right, and this mind don't work right. So I'm saying all of this to those out there who are having the same problems that we've had, but you're afraid to let somebody know because you're afraid that they're going to tell you you're crazy or you don't need to do this or you don't need to do that. God, number one, and then get you some help.
What Reverend Coleman, let me say this, because you said a whole lot of good stuff there. And I think the biggest fear for people that's dealing with depression is that they fear other people's opinion,
Other
and how
people's
people are
opinion.
going to look at them. They're going to think I'm crazy. They're going to think, what are they going to think of me? So the chemically imbalanced part, that's what the medication is for.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned psychiatrists. I was so deep into depression. I had my level of depression had went from a psychiatrist to a psychologist, which is
Mm-hmm.
the next level up. I've had
Mm-hmm.
to have outpatient mental therapy, all all while I am a pastor. Now listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
All while I'm a pastor. And some
Mm-hmm.
may say I'm telling a story, but what
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving on tonight is a testimony of how God delivered me from depression. And
Mm-hmm.
just to show you that it could happen to even a pastor. I was
Mm-hmm.
deep in depression. And one would say, you should know better. You're a pastor. How did you get depressed? You know that when your mother passed, it was gain for her. Yeah, I knew that. I preached her sermon. I knew that for her to live and then to die was gain because she with the Lord. I knew all of that. But there is nothing that could take the place of me missing my mom. That's where that depression came in at.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very proud of myself, and I don't look at it as a story right now, Reverend Coleman. I look at it as a strong testimony because
Mm-hmm.
I'm very proud that I was able to hold on and trust and
Mm-hmm.
get the help that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
You will hurt yourself
Mm-hmm.
more if you don't get the help that you need. There is help
Mm-hmm.
out there. I
Mm-hmm.
had to they started off on one pill, and sometimes that one pill I have you doing something um, different than what they wanted to do, and then have to put you on another pill. I've had to take a upper and a downer because the
Mm-hmm.
upper kept me up all night, so then they need to give me a downer so I can lay down and go to sleep. So
Mm-hmm.
eventually, talking with a psychologist, a psychiatrist, then a psychologist,
Mm-hmm.
I eventually came out of it. And one
Mm-hmm.
thing I want to share that my psychiatrist told me, because I would go in there every so often, Loretta, and
Mm-hmm.
I would tell her, I'm crazy, ain't it? I'm crazy. And she looked at me and she said, let me tell you something, Alice. A crazy person don't know they're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I said, wow. She said, a crazy person don't know that they're crazy. So for
Mm-hmm.
you to tell me that you're crazy, it ain't nothing wrong with you. You ain't
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I said,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. I ain't
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So,
Mm-hmm.
so depression is real. Depression
Mm-hmm.
doesn't care who it attack. Depression come in so many different faces.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a crazy person won't get help. A crazy
Mm-hmm.
person don't know they crazy. A crazy person don't know that they need help.
Mm-hmm.
So depression is far from being crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times we allow people to label us as
Mm-hmm.
that while we don't come forward with it.
Mm-hmm. But and here's another thing that we shouldn't do. Never judge a person shoes that you haven't walked in.
Mm-hmm.
You tell a person, well, you should be over that now. You don't know how that affected them. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know what they've been through. You don't know the nights they cried. So watch what you say. You have to be very careful what you say to someone that's depressed because you know you can say the wrong thing to make
Mm-hmm.
people want to say, okay, that's it. I'm done. This is it for me. The
Mm-hmm.
best thing that you can do um for a person that's depressed is listen and
Mm-hmm.
give them your support.
That's
Give them
right.
your support. Don't criticize them. Don't say you should be. Don't say you shouldn't be. Only
Mhm.
you need to listen at what they're saying, and you need to have compassion. When I'm going through my anxieties, I don't want nobody to preach to me. Don't preach to me. And I know that may sound bad, but I don't, that's not what I need then. What I need is compassion and somebody to listen and to somebody
Mhm.
to say, you can make it. I don't need nobody to tell me you shouldn't be there. What do you say about that, Pastor?
Well, that is so true, Reverend Coleman, and because the one that's saying that don't know when it's going to hit them.
Mm,
Depression is a sneaky demon that will sneak up on you and will cause you to feel worthless, useless, feel like there's no need. But we don't need people to add to that when we're going through that. And so I think my challenge, my moment is because see, I think that we don't look at the strongest person, the preacher, the teacher, the doctor, the lawyer, the average person, the one, the head of the family, the one that keeps everything together. We don't look at those people as being eligible or qualified with depression. So my
mhm,
challenge on tonight is to encourage people. Just because there's a smile don't mean that there isn't anything wrong. You
mhm,
have to pay attention to people patterns when they start sleeping more, when they
mhm,
stop eating, when they stop taking care of their personal hygiene, not getting their hair done,
mhm,
not changing their clothes,
mhm,
don't want to talk, becoming withdrawn. Those
mhm,
are signs of depression.
mhm,
There's not one set of signs. There are many signs, and so I'm challenging people that's listening on tonight to pay attention to your surroundings, of your people, of your loved ones, of your
mhm,
family, of your friends, and pay attention to those signs. Just because they look like they're okay, don't mean that they're okay all the time.
mhm,
So as far as me, Reverend Coleman, I didn't want to hear, even though I knew the word of God. As a matter
mhm,
of fact, I could minister to my own self during those times.
mhm,
As a matter of fact, I did. I reminded myself that he would never leave me nor forsake me. I reminded
mhm,
myself there was nothing too hard for him. I
mhm.
reminded myself that even while I was going through that battle that I was in wasn't mine, it had belonged to him. But
Mhm.
I reminded myself I didn't need what I didn't need was for someone to tell me you need to come on and get over that. That's and I mean I stayed off my
That's what she
job
said.
for yeah, I stayed off my job for 6 months. Some folk were saying, "No, you know you should have been on went back to." No, you can't tell me when I need to be over something.
Mhm.
And even right now, mom's been dead almost 10 years. I lost my sister 3 years after that. Even right now, I could slip right back into it if I'm not
Mhm.
if I'm not careful.
Mhm.
That event that happened 10 years ago can
Mhm.
become so new and fresh to me that I can
Mhm.
slip right back into that depression just like it was 10 years ago. But
Mhm.
now one thing that I did when my sister got sick, and it was 3 years after mom passed, I recognized the signs that was coming up, Reverend Coleman.
Mm. Yes.
Recognized it. And so what
Mhm.
I did, I reached out for help before
Mhm.
I got back to where I was with my mom.
Mhm.
And that's what we have to do. When we
Mhm.
accept the fact that depression is real with us,
Mhm.
we recognize the signs, we
Mhm.
understand that there is help, we know how to counterattack it. You
Mhm.
do it with your medication, you
Mhm.
do it with sharing, you do it with knowing I'm having anxiety attack today. You do it.
Mhm.
More of us would do it instead of trying to suffocate it and smother it.
Mhm.
It comes out fighting when we try to do
Mhm.
If we stop trying to suffocate and smother it and not own it,
Mm-hmm.
if we would just own it, we would be better and we could do better.
Yes.
Get better.
Yes. You right about that. And I love people, but then there are certain people I can't be around. I'm not gonna be around nobody negative. I'm not gonna be around nobody. I can't. It does something to me. I can't be around people who don't have positive things to say. One thing my psychiatrist told me to surround myself with positivity, find something that I like to do. When I feel myself slipping in that mode, she said, "What do you like to do?" I said, "I love to look at Steve Harvey." And she said, "What else you love to do?" I said, "I love to look at Judge Judy." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because they're gonna make me laugh and they're gonna make me snap out of that situation that was getting ready to happen." And then she said, "Find you games on your phone and stuff just to occupy your mind." She said, "It's not good just to sit and think. Because when you sit and think, you think about everything. So you got to find yourself, you got to find you some encouraging people to be around. If you got people that's not, let me see, if you got people that's not encouraging you and they're always down in you and always got something negative to say, you need to let them go. You need to let them go because it's bad mentally. Mentally, it's bad for you. And if you got somebody that's always down in you, you can't never do nothing right. You need to let them go. Now, that's just my take on that. It's
That's
not that you
exactly
don't
right.
love them, but when you can't never do nothing right, and they're the only ones that can do something right, I can't deal with people like that.
That's right. Separate
Yeah.
yourself. That's right.
Yeah.
And Evelyn Stewart, you're so correct. You're so
Mhm.
correct. I think my mom' death prepared me for my sister death and the depression. And I recognize, like I said, I recognized the signs as they were getting ready to come. And I called my psychiatrist and I said, my sister is ill. I think I
Mhm.
need to come in and get started. I need to head this thing off.
Mhm.
Because one thing that I'm very real about with the depression, it had me down in a very bad way, Reverend
Mhm.
Coleman. And I told my husband, I told my church family, I told them I wish I was really joking or
Mhm.
not telling the truth to say that I
Mhm.
had depression as bad as I did, but it
Mhm.
was real. And one thing that I love that I have accepted is that it can come back at any time. It
Mhm.
can come back. Once you get to a
Mhm.
level where you're balanced, doesn't mean
Mhm.
you can't become chemically unbalanced again. And so
Mhm.
anything can set it off. And I
Mhm.
think that was Evelyn that said that her boss told her she needed to get over it. There,
Mhm.
there's no such word. And I had a preacher once to say that he don't understand how people cry at homegoing services and how people don't realize that death. All of us got, yeah, we realize all of us got to die, but my psychiatrist told me something. She said, would you rather be grieving because you lost your mother and you loved her? Or would you rather not grieve and be depressed because you didn't love her? I loved her. So what I was doing and going through was very normal. It was it,
Mhm.
it was it was normal for where I was. So
Mhm.
don't let nobody make you feel like you're not normal, that you're
Mhm.
weird, what you're doing
Mhm.
is uncalled for, where you're at
Mhm.
is uncalled for. No, but just know that there is help for you.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Now, Pastor Ellison, this is going to surprise a lot of people, but it was so bad with me in 2016. 2016, I signed myself into Three Rivers because I felt myself getting ready to have a nervous breakdown. And I was in there for 8 days. 8 days. Um, the therapy that they had in there was number one. The workshops that they had in there was number one. The only thing that I didn't like was being locked up because you be behind bars,
Mhm.
because you can't get out. And and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
those workshops for 8 days helped me. We had to get up at 6:30 in the morning, get ready for breakfast. By 9 o'clock, from 9 to 11, we was in workshops. 11 to 1 was lunchtime. From 1 to 4 was more workshops. And then we would go to dinner. And then after dinner would be like downtime. Had to be in the bed at 10. All TVs was automatically cut off, and it just helped me so much. And so this is the first time that I've told it on here. A lot of people didn't know where I went, but if I felt at that moment, if I hadn't have went, I would have just lost it. I needed help, and I needed it bad.
And that's where I was, Reverend Coleman, because I went from a
Mhm.
psychiatrist, which is like just going sit down talking to psychiatrist. From
Mhm.
there, my condition didn't appear to have gotten any better, so I had to go to a psychologist. And then the psychologist saw me for a couple of months, and then he said, "Well, I think we need to do a little something else." And so
Mhm.
I did outpatient treatment
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
about 6 months, which means
Mhm.
I had to do the same thing. I had to be there by a certain time, sign in, and I had to sit around the room with people that were depressed but had
Mhm.
different things that caused their depression.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what happened in those sessions really strengthened me because it made me look at my situation and say, well, you know what? I'm not as bad
Mhm.
off as I thought I really was. And then there were
Mhm.
some things that they would say that encouraged me.
Mhm.
And then there were some things that I would say
Mhm.
that would help them. And I'll never
Mhm.
forget that as I began to get to the end of that session, around maybe the fifth month, I start feeling myself get a little stronger. And then
Mhm.
one day I left session and I came back and my hair was done. And
Mhm.
it was like a magical moment of strength for the people
Mhm.
that was in there. It gave them
Mhm.
hope. It gave them a
Mhm.
reason to want to live. Just something as simple as me getting my hair done, because they knew
Mhm.
that that was something that I always did. But during
Mhm.
that time, all I did was kept it wrapped up or a cap on it and just wouldn't do anything. So when
Mhm.
I literally got my hair done, it was like, oh my God, you did it, we can do it.
Mhm.
You don't know what you may be able to share, may be
Mhm.
able to help somebody,
Mhm.
you know? So where you at right now, Reverend Coleman, and what you just shared, it's a powerful testimony, because to look at you, to
Mhm.
watch you, and to watch you move about, one would think that depression could hit someone as strong as you. But to
Mhm.
be able to share that and to show
Mhm.
them that you came out of it, it sends
Mhm.
a signal of hope that if she
Mhm.
can come out, I can come out.
Mhm. But there's a couple of things, like we mentioned earlier, that you got to do. It's very careful of your surroundings. You
Mm-hmm.
got to be very careful who's in that circle. You need
Mm-hmm.
somebody that know you good enough to know when you getting ready to slip into it, and they can either say, "Come on, let's go. Where we going? Let's go out to dinner, or let's go do this, or let's go do that." But you don't need those negative people in your life. You don't
Mm-mm.
need angry people. Hello there. You don't need angry people, people that's angry all the time, people that's blaming you all the time. Some relationships, they're never wrong. You're always the wrong one. And see, that triggers me. That triggers me. That triggers me. And it triggers me when you won't let me talk, when you won't let me get my point across, when you cut me off and you say that's stupid. Now that triggers something that I do not like, so I tend to just withdraw, because You need to listen to everybody, because if you don't, suppose you don't listen to that person trying to get something out, you don't listen to them, and next thing you hear, they blew their brains out because they felt like they couldn't get nobody to listen.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's something for all of us to think about.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Thank you, Ms. Walker, so much.
Yeah. But tonight, the reason we are doing this is because a young lady reached out to me today, and she is listening, and she's just about to give up, and she asked me to do this show. And I just thank all of you who are sharing on here, because we all need help in one way, one fashion or another. It may not be depression with you. You may have a family member that's going through it. You may not have it today, but by listening to us, you may run down into somebody down the road that's challenged with the same thing, and then you will know what to tell them. But it is real. It's something that needs to be dealt with, and we don't deal with it until a tragedy happens. Yeah, I'm saying it to all politicians, all leaders. We don't deal with that issue until something bad happens. And when something bad happens, then everybody want to jump on the bandwagon. Okay, well, it's here now. We got federal money that people can go and get counseling. But again, we listen to the wrong people that say, you don't need to go. 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 You don't need to do this. Thanks, Reverend Coleman, for confirmation. I've been fighting going because my doctor has recommended that I go away for a while, and I keep making excuses, but I think I'm going to go ahead and go. My pastor knows this, and they sent the people to my house a few months ago, and I had to go see my doctor, and she said she was sending me. I begged her not to big mistake. I am going to get help. There is, and those sessions, baby, are good. And let me tell you, if you don't want to go away, sign up for the outpatient. I went through the outpatient sessions as well. I was there from like 9 to 3, and they had powerful sessions that we went through doing the outpatient. But if you feel you need to go in to get away from everything, it's good. Like I said, the only problem I have, I'm not a 10 o'clock going to bed person. That was the most miserable thing that I had to go through. No TV, everything quiet. And then the showers, you take a shower every 3 minutes, you had to turn it back on, because they don't let them stay on long because they're afraid somebody might drown themselves. Just stuff like that, just a little stuff. But as far as the literature they had and the workshops, they had the best. They had the absolutely best. And that's how I met my psychiatrist, Dr. Tiana Prelo, because she was at the Three Rivers. And that's how I met her. And I thank God to that day. Had I not went there, I would not have met her. And we need help. It's something that people don't want to talk about in the church. You got some churches that deal with it. You got some churches that think if you're depressed, you're living a defeated life. No, you're not. I know plenty of pastors that go to therapy themselves. Listen, all that stuff that pastors have to listen to and have to deal with, they need somebody to too. They need somebody to pour out to too. And so, don't that stuff right there in the 30s and 40s, when people say, they used to call it the crazy house. Well, she went to the crazy house. Well, that stuff right there, they didn't know no better then. I didn't go to the crazy house. I went to the help house. That's where
come on now.
That helped me. And I take my 5 pills And sometimes I forget, my family get on me, but they can tell when I don't take them because I begin to be irritable. But you know, they help and they help balance me out with my doctor as well. But God has kept me going, and God will do it. And I want anybody on here tonight, if you decide to go to outpatient or you decide to sign yourself in like I did, find that person you got trust in. Chastity, your pastor, you ain't got to tell a whole family member because they're gonna try to talk you out of it. My son didn't even know that I was going. When I got there, signed my paperwork, got everything done. They allowed me to make a phone call. I called, told him to come pick up my car from Three Rivers because I had signed myself in and I'd be there for 8 days. Because I didn't want nobody to talk me out of it.
That's right.
I didn't want nobody because I wanted help. So what I can't understand, all this help that's out here, why we don't use it?
Because Reverend Coleman, we feel like people, society, things around us make us feel like it's nothing. They want to tell us there's nothing wrong with you. They want to make you think you're crazy when you're not crazy. It's just that you're going through a depression. And so I just want those that are listening that have any sign of depression to get some courage and get help. There is help for you. Get some help. And the best help you can get is wanting the help.
Wanting the help.
Is wanting the help. You can't get better. I can't want you to get better. I can't, your mama can't want you to get better. Your friend can't want you to get better. You got to want to get better. You can't get better by somebody else wanting it for you. You got to want it for yourself. And so I'm here tonight to encourage those that are just under the sound of our voice. If there's any sign of depression, just the smallest sign, seek help before it gets too big, before it starts flustering out of control, and then you find yourself withdrawn and all of that other stuff. There are some small signs. Staying up all night. That's you think sometimes that's not normal. The not wanting to change and bathe and all this other stuff. Those are signs. Pay attention to the signs and want to get the help. And like Reverend Coleman said, sometimes it's not for everybody because you got people that walk around with a Bible in their hand and a Bible in their mouth, and all they want to do is quote scriptures and tell you that if you go and get help, or if you say you're depressed and you don't believe, you don't have faith. That's not so. I have the gift of faith. I have the gift of faith, Reverend Coleman. And I have been depressed.
My daughter is dealing with depression due to the death of her aunt, my sister. I know her triggers, but I had to learn to leave her alone and let her process the situation. This has been going on since 2016. Everyone's grieving period is different. When she felt that she was being succumbed by the state of depression, she got one day and said, "Take me to the hospital." I took her and she was admitted that day. Sometimes the person has already been directed. You're absolutely right.
That's right. That's right. And we're praying that she stays strong.
Yes.
She continue to seek help.
Yes. God gives these people the knowledge to help. God, with the help of a therapist, is a winning combo. Therapy saved my life. It saved mine too.
Mine too.
God did it save my life.
Thank you,
Jesus. Yes.
Hello, Sister Pelzer.
But it's just Luann said, yes, Pastor, it starts from the inside. You have to want to get help. And
exactly.
you have to want to get help. You got to want to get help. You got to want to get help. You got to want to get help like you want to get $1 million.
That's right. And I want $1 million.
I'm telling you, you got to want to get help.
Mm-hmm.
And I want one day to wake up and there's no more depression. I want one day to wake up and there's no more anxiety attacks, panic attacks. And I'm gonna keep believing God is gonna do it. But while I'm believing, I'm gonna take my medication.
Please.
Oh, while I'm believing, I'm gonna take my medication.
Please. And the question is, how many of you really think anybody with depression want it? How many of you really think a person with depression really wants to be depressed? That's not a good feeling. It's not a good place to be.
It's not a good feeling. You feel helpless.
You feel helpless. You feel helpless. You feel just like I told my psychiatrist, you feel crazy. Depression really is an out-of-body experience. It takes you places that you've never, ever been before. And it will blow your mind. It will blow your mind. And so with my depression, I thank God that I had the right people that were there to encourage me and to help me and to be there through my process of my depression. My husband was there. My counselor talked to me. My psychiatrist talked to him. My daughter, my church family, everybody was there. And I did not hide my depression from my church family. I didn't, because I felt like at that time I was a living, breathing testimony to what God was going to be able to bring me out of. So to the young lady that's listening, if God did it and is doing it, still doing it, because let me tell you something, just because I'm not sitting in my depression right now doesn't mean it cannot come back. And so what God did and is doing and has done for Reverend Loretta Coleman and Pastor Ellison, listen, sweetie, he can do the same thing for you. He has no respect of person. He has not given out of working miracles and delivering people. So wherever you are, whatever state of mind that you find yourself in right now, just know that there is help, there is help, and there is help. Okay? And so giving up is not an option for you. I want you to know that it's not an option. Giving up is not an option because you have help. You have it right here in Reverend Coleman, and you have it here with Pastor Ellison. We're here with you.
And today I was at Finley Park and I was in such a good mood. I mean, I was in such a good mood, just feeling good and everything. And a friend of mine called me, and his daughter was killed over the weekend. And you could just hear the hurt in him. And I had to be strong at that time when I was talking to him. I had to be strong for him. But Pastor Ellison, when I hung up that phone, I went into full-blown anxiety. I couldn't help it. It was just, I had to hold it in while I was talking to him because I didn't want to make him sad.
Right.
But I had to take my seat and lay it back, and I had to lay there for about 20 minutes, and I had to take my medicine and get myself together. That hurt that I had heard in his voice triggered something in me. And we have to be strong for people, even in our weakest situations, because I can tell him, I really don't want to feel like, I don't feel like hearing that. And he lost his child.
Wow. Yeah.
I couldn't tell that. So what I had to do is push my feelings aside until I could get off of the phone with him. And that's why I told you, I said, I really need you today because I was in full-blown anxiety and I didn't know whether I was going to be able to do this or not. But you know what? talking about it has helped me tonight,
Mhm.
and I hope it's helping somebody else. And when you're doing things with meaning to it, it takes your mind off of your situations and
That's
your
right.
circumstances.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it will.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to tell everybody on the line tonight, no matter where you are, what state of mind or position that you're in, that depression is real and it can really happen to you, whether you know it or
Hmm.
not. And
Hmm.
so let's just be mindful of that. Pay attention to the signs for yourself as well as the loved ones all around you. And one of the things that we have been faced with, Reverend Coleman, and we people really don't talk about it a lot. And I think
Hmm.
I am well, I'm asking you to maybe one day come back and do a show on this. The young kids at school that's killing
Hmm.
themselves because they're depressed. And
Hmm.
no, not saying parents don't do what they're supposed to do, but there are signs that we need to look for and listen to. We
Hmm.
have too many of our young kids that are being bullied and
Hmm.
taking their own lives because of it. And they're doing it away from home. The majority of them is
Hmm.
doing it at the schools.
Hmm.
So there needs to be some talk around that. But depression is real now.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that after I read this. I know a person who doesn't want depression, who doesn't want depression. She constantly speak this, but I encourage her to stay strong. Although she's going through depression, I see her gifts. Before the pandemic, she started wearing masks, gloves, using hand sanitizer, Lysol, and bleaching things. Had I paid attention, I would have been ready for the COVID-19 outbreak because I would have had supplies. Sometimes we don't pay attention. That's what she was just saying.
Mhm.
LaTracy said, I truly understand this after my son. It's really hard, but one day at a time. Thanks for all the prayers. Yes, she had lost her son about a month ago.
Oh yeah.
But going back to the children, if we don't pay attention to our children, we think, and God bless us if we can afford to do it. We think buying them name brand clothes and name brand shoes and every electronical tool that they want, that's love.
Hmm.
No, what you're doing is pacifying them instead of finding
Hmm.
the root. How many parents, when your child come home from school, what did you learn today? What happened in history? What happened in English? Did anything happen I need to know about? Conversations, interacting, or do you allow them to come home, go in that room, get on the cell phone, or get on the iPad, and you don't have conversations with them? All you concerned about is the report card, but you don't have any earthly idea what's going on in their life because you don't have conversation with them. And that's the biggest problem, Pastor Ellison.
Yeah, and how many of our kids really feel comfortable enough with our parents that
Mhm,
we could tell them if somebody touched us in the wrong place or
mhm,
said something inappropriate to us, or we've met somebody on Facebook, Instagram that we're now
mhm,
these kids are on the news. We hear of somebody, a child missing every day, if not
mhm,
every other day. A child is missing, and
mhm.
and can that child have a conversation with you? You could have probably talked to that child out of leaving with that person on Instagram and Facebook. Can your child come to you and say that somebody touched me inappropriately, or I feel uncomfortable around Uncle Bob or your boyfriend or whatever, without you turning the blame and putting it on me?
Well, communication is everything, Carol Foster. But let
Mm-hmm.
me tell you, I know this for a fact because I used to counsel, I used to have counseling sessions with this girl. She had the mama had 5 daughters, and the boyfriend molested all 5 daughters. And all 5 daughters tried to tell the mother, but the mother believed the boyfriend over the daughters.
Have mercy.
And it happens.
It happens all the
They
time.
gonna believe that boyfriend. They gonna say, "Well, you flirted with him. Well, what did you do?"
Mm-hmm.
And you bring them. You bring. You got daughters, and between the age of 10 and 18, they done seen 10 different men in their house.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh no,
Yeah.
uh-uh. You don't know what they're doing.
Reverend Coley, my daughter, when I was going through my domestic violence back here,
Mhm.
my daughter was the one that actually said something that triggered in my mind. And it was after going through a situation with him, physical altercation with my ex-husband.
Mhm.
My daughter looked at me, and I think my daughter had to have been maybe 7 or 8. She looked at me and she said, "Mama, is this normal? Is this the way that I'm supposed to let a man treat me?"
Wow.
Then I knew it was time to go before then. I was just trying to find a safe way to leave.
Mhm.
But when she said that, I put my plan in action quicker, because
Mhm.
now you're telling me that I am showing you something that you are looking at, and you're trying to figure out whether this is what you're supposed to let a man do to you. So a lot of times the way we live hinders and hurts our kids as well.
And we don't see it until it's too
That's
late
but
sometimes.
yeah, that's another whole topic. That's another whole segment right there, Reverend Coleman.
That's a
That
whole new
yeah,
segment. We don't see it until a lot of times it's too late. You say,
mm,
"What is wrong with that girl? What is wrong with that boy?" Well, all you got to do is backtrack.
backtrack. Yeah,
That's
but you know
all you
what?
got to do is backtrack.
You know what we used to say. What I used to hear growing up: sit your fast self down somewhere. Sit your
Well,
hot
you,
tail down somewhere. You smelling yourself. But parents, they didn't listen. They didn't listen, and we have a
I need you
generation
to answer
now.
this one right here because I can't deal with this one. You're gonna have to deal with this one.
What happens when your mother knows about the abuse and she is a domestic violence victim too? Well, a lot of times, if she's a victim and you're going through it as well, a lot of times if mom has accepted and she think that is normal, then that's what she's going to portray to you. If she That's kind of hard. That's a hard one, Reverend Coleman. With me being a victim and then coming out of it, I knew that it wasn't normal. I was one of the ones that said if a man ever hit me, what I was going to do. And
Mhm.
so, as it began to happen, I hid
Mhm.
it. I hid it for
Mhm.
a very long time because I
Mhm.
didn't want nobody to know that Big Al was getting beat on. Okay.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
when it began to get, and I would get beat on because I would fight back. So don't
Mhm.
I wasn't scared or anything. But the more I hit back, the worse it got.
Mhm.
And so I did tell my mom when I finally said, okay, this is enough of this. I finally did. But because of how he treated me around them, they didn't believe it. She said, "You sure he beat on you?"
Mhm.
And that could be what's going on with this other person. It just depends on how um, your mate portrays himself to your mom. But your mom, um, that's her situation. Yours, and I'm gonna say this, and I don't mean to sound rude or awful. I hope it don't come across as being mean. But your mom's situation is your mom. Yours is yours. You know that that's what's happening to you. You know it's not right. Don't wait for your mom to accept hers and get delivered from hers. You get out of yours. You get out of it safely. When you
Mhm.
get out safely, then you can go back and get your mom. You
Mhm.
already realize and recognize that this is not normal and this is not something that you want to go through. So remove yourself from that situation and then come back and get your mom when you've removed yourself safely. But trying to convince your mom and wait on your mom to come out before you make an exit, don't do that to yourself.
Well, let me ask you this. Um, they say, I don't know because I've never been married, that the domestic violence victim is almost as bad as a sexual victim. Sometimes they be in denial and they think things are going to get better and they think it's not going to happen anymore.
Well, I'm going to speak from my experience, and then I went into trying to help women to escape. So that was my ministry when I first came out. But I wasn't in denial. I knew what it was. I knew what it looked like. I knew what it felt like. But what happens is that women get lost in what we think is love. We get lost in that. And we
Mm-hmm.
get lost in the fact that he loved me so much, he's jealous. Not
Mm-hmm.
realizing that there's nothing cute and there's nothing good about a jealous man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how mine started off. It started off, oh, he loved me, he loved me, he loved me. This is the real love. I would leave to go to the store and it would start, but you're not home yet. You're not home from work yet. So those were the little signs that led up to it. Then it turned into a full blown jealousy, which I thought, and being honest, with him calling and checking on me, I'm at the store. It was funny. It was giggly. He loved me. He loved me
You
so
thought he
much. He wanted
loved
to
you,
know.
huh?
Oh yeah. And so
Yeah.
that's what happened to us. We get caught up in what we think is love when
Mm-hmm.
really love doesn't do that. Then it started getting physical. It starts off with being verbally abusive. Then it start getting physical. And I will say this to the young lady that says she's in it and her mom is too. What I had to do, because my
Mm-hmm.
domestic violence was at an all-time danger level, I knew that I needed to get out. I knew that I needed to get out quickly, but I had to get out safely. That's the main thing. You have to make sure you get out safely. One thing I learned about domestic violence, because even with that, I went to an outpatient class with that too, Reverend Goldman.
Mm-hmm.
I did outpatient with that domestic violence. One
Mm-hmm.
thing I learned with that is most people that inflict domestic violence is cowards.
Is what?
Cowards.
Is
Cowards. Straight up cowards. They're not going to
mm-hmm.
fight a man. They're only going to do it to you when you're by yourself. They're cowards.
Pastor Ellison
Yes,
and Facebook people. I don't know what I'd do if a man hit me.
that's what I said.
I'd probably pick up a hammer, a
Mm-hmm,
stone, a knife, or anything.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I tried
I
all that. I
I
used,
just
I used to
don't.
fight back. I used to fight back, Loretta. 'Cause I'm telling you, I was the one that said, I wish a man would put their hand on me. But I endured, I'm telling you, I endured it for the safety of my kids. I had one that said, I'll go to the school and get him out and kidnap and kill him. See, so I had to think ahead. I had to leave safely. Should have been gone. Should have been gone. Should have been gone. But I had to leave safely.
Mm.
Hmm. And most of them, Reverend Coleman, if they can't have you, nobody else will. So,
Okay, read this one because she wrote a lot.
hmm, you have to make the telling known and open that if daddy, uncle, granddaddy, or neighbor touch you and you feel uncomfortable, you better tell me. Make it a command. Someone tried to touch my daughter. She told me, and we went to the police station and found out he had other cases pending, but couldn't find him. But we know and led them to him, and he was incarcerated for 8 years. Now he wears a tag. Thank
Wow.
God. That's that's
Mhm.
that's courageous. That's wonderful.
My husband
My
hit me
husband hit
so
me so
hard it knocked my wig off. But I promise you, after that, I got the crowbar from the car and I lost it. We never had no more fights after that argument. Yes, disagreements, but that was it. I'm not your punching bag. I believe I would have
Amen.
been with you, LaTracy. I believe I've been with you, you know.
Mm,
Cause see,
yes.
I seen that kind of stuff. And I promised myself, no, no,
No.
I can't do it.
Amen.
No.
Well, Reverend Coleman, um, we did 2 different topics in there that we can come back and definitely hammer on. That domestic violence and getting the mindset, learning that of our children. So that's
Hmm.
2 topics right there that you can definitely come back. I just
Yeah.
hope I see time, and I want to be obedient. I don't want people to get tired of seeing me on here with you. So I want to be obedient to time, and just hope that we said something tonight that helped that young lady. If you need additional help, Reverend Coleman, if she need help from me, please give her my number and I'll be there
Hmm.
with her.
Hmm.
Um, to pray with her, walk her through whatever
Hmm.
program. If she need a program, I'll help her get set up with one.
Hmm. And you all, please, I beg you, I plead with you. If somebody comes to you and try to talk to you, let them talk. I don't
Mm,
care how stupid it sounds. Let them talk and let them finish. And when they finish, then you ask them, can I say something? Same
mhm,
thing psychiatrists do. They're going to let you talk and then they're going to say what they think afterwards. But the worst thing you can do is to make a person who is suffering with depression make them feel like they don't matter or what
mhm,
they're trying to tell you is not important. We
mhm.
can't be so holy that we can't see beyond what a person is going through.
That's right.
And sometimes we're so holy that we're no earthly good.
Good. There you go.
Just no good. When they start talking, when I try to talk to them and they start talking about what thus said the Lord, it's just like firecrackers go off in my head. And I'll say, well, they need more help than I do mentally. Because, they preaching to me and all that's well and good, but that's not what I need. I need you to listen right now.
That's all. Sometimes that's all it
You know?
takes. Yes,
Oh
ma'am.
boy. I tell you, well, you got something going on this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch gears just a little bit, just a little bit. Actually, I have 2 events coming up. I have one this weekend, starting the 14th, 15th, and the 16th. Is the Women of Inspiration Joy Explosion, our 15th year of celebrating, and it's going to start this Friday, at 7 p.m. at the Greater New William Street Baptist Church. Then on Friday night, we have our gospel sing out. That event is free. If you're not doing
Mhm.
nothing, come on by and enjoy some good old fashioned singing. We're going to have a wonderful time. And then on Saturday is our learnable, teachable moments. On that Saturday, we have our workshops and our banquet, which has a cost of $40 attached to it. And then on Sunday morning, I'm going to come as the barrier of the word and kind of close the Women of Inspiration out Sunday morning. So that's what we have going on this weekend. And
Mhm.
then in the month of May, we have a 1 day women's conference. And this is going to be a deliverance conference for those that feel like they're just stuck and need to be delivered. And is the theme is This Is My Exodus. And
Mhm.
that's going to be on May the 20th. And tickets are $35 per person. You can go to Eventbrite, or reach out to me by Facebook, and we'll definitely get you connected. So
Where
that's what's
can they go on Facebook? Where can they go on Facebook to new Greater William Street
go
Baptist
to
Church?
New William Street. Just click on New William Street, and you'll be able to go in there. I think the flyer and the information is on there for both events.
Mm-hmm.
for both events. If you're not doing anything, come on Friday night. Now Friday's free, so come on and enjoy some good old singing. So we do invite you to that. So Reverend Coleman, I'm going to switch gears just a little bit in mine, and I hope I'm not out of order. If I am, you can tell me whenever we get off the broadcast. Just don't tell me on here, okay? So what I want to do right now, I listen to you all the time, and I follow you. I support your ministry, and I see how you try to just kind of do for people. And so on tonight, she's not in the need of anything. She's not asking for anything, but I am on here tonight asking that you sow a seed in God, that tirelessly week after week, Monday and Tuesday, she come on and she bring us some heavy topics that we need. And so I want you tonight to sow a seed into Loretta Coleman, not her ministry. So I don't need nobody saying what she did with the money. I want you to search your heart and your mind and what she gives to you and sow a seed into her life. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you when you sow that seed is that you cannot beat God's giving. Whatever you give to her on tonight, God is going to give it back to you threefold. He's going to give it back to you, but you got to give it with a willing heart. And so what I'm looking for on tonight, all these people free stuff she do for other people, and all these shows that she do that come on and help us so tremendously. I would like for you to show her some love on tonight, because see, love does what love is. Love is what love does. And so on tonight, her Cash App been going across this screen all night long. You see it. I want you to go ahead, Cash App her tonight. I need at least 15 people. If 15 people can send her $100.
Oh Lord, Jesus!
If 15, let me take that back.
Oh,
I'm gonna
God.
14 people. 14, because I'm already sending mine. If I can get 14 people to send her $100, let me tell you something. That's nothing compared to what God is going to bless you with. Let's seed into her life. Sowing a seed into her life. If I can get 15 people to sow $100 into her life, all my preachers and pastors, evangelists, all my leaders, let's lead by example. I'm sending my 100. As a matter of fact, if y'all hold on a second, I'm getting ready to press send, because I already have it in here. I'm getting ready to press
Well,
send.
here go my lashes coming off because I'm crying.
Well, ain't no need in crying.
I am crying.
I'm getting ready to send mine now. So I need 100 people to quit me, and let's do, what is it? It's $, Ham and Angel, AN. Once you type that in, you will see it. Go ahead and put that up there. Let's go ahead. I need 15 people to send her $100. If you don't have 100, don't feel left out. Can I get 15 of you that got it to send her $50? 15 to send 100, 15 to send 50. And I guarantee you, what you give to her, you won't even miss it. God is going to bless you tremendously. So I'm trying to send mine now, because I'm going to lead by example. You don't have to come back on here and say, I done sent it. We don't need to know that. All I need for you to do is Cash App. I'm finna hit pay. It's turning. I'm confirming. Mine's gone. So I need 15 people to send 100, 15 to send 50. And if I can get 20 people to send $20, I've come down in 3 different categories: 100, 50, and 20. I want that Cash App to ring off the hook on tonight. please, please, I'm asking that you please bless this woman of God who so tirelessly week after week pour into each of you by being on this live to share with you stories of encouragement. And sometimes if we bless her tonight, that's going to encourage her to keep going. Okay, so please, let's go ahead and let's bless her. Now, what I've asked for was 15 people to do 100, 15 people to do 50, and 20 of y'all to please just do $20 if you can. And let's bless her. Let's bless her. Bless her. Now, listen, I don't say it, so I don't want to inboxing her what you did with the money. We need to see receipts, because I'm not telling you this is for the ministry. This is to bless her life, because she so tirelessly always, look, she had something for Christmas. She had something for Black History Month. She just did something for Easter. She's always doing something in the community. Tonight is her night. Tonight is her night. Tonight is her night. I don't see any comments. I don't see nothing. I just need y'all to go ahead and cash out. I do know I have Wim Street on this live. Wim Street, your pastor is challenging you to hit cash out. 20, 50, or 100. Send it. Cam and Angel, 1010. Wim Street, pastor is challenging you. 100, 50, or $20. I need y'all to ring that cash out. About you know, I hear it going off. I need some more to go off. I need to go off back to back. Back to back. Come on, William Street. Okay, I'm finished.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You know, I really do appreciate that. And, you know, I have no shame. It's well needed. I had some things that happened this week where Monday I had to spend an unexpected $1,100. So it is well needed. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank the others who were so. I appreciate that very much.
Mm-hmm. See, one thing about sowing a seed, Reverend Coleman, if you sow your seed on good ground, it's going to grow. Mm-hmm. And I do believe you are good ground. Mm-hmm. So for me to send that $100, that was nothing, because I'm sowing on good ground. And one thing about good ground, it's going to grow. It's going to grow. It's going to grow. Mm-hmm. And so that what I poured into you, God is going to give it back to me. I believe that. And he's not going to let me outgive him. So by me giving you that 100, me think I'm doing something, he's going to say, you ain't did nothing. Let me show you how to give. So he's going to give it back to me. So when you give to this woman of God, you're not losing anything, you're gaining, because you're sowing on good ground. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to add that. And thank you so much for having me on tonight.
You're welcome, and we'll see you Friday night.
All right. Well, yes, ma'am.
We'll see you Friday night. And when you say the banquet is?
It's going to be next door to in our old church.
No, I'm saying when.
And it's the fellowship hall, so we don't have to read it.
When the banquet going to be?
I hear that cash out. Listen, I hear that cash out, Reverend Coleman. Keep on dinging. I need to ding, 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 ding. Yeah. William Street, ding. Okay. It's going to be Saturday.
Saturday night. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Saturday at 7. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Saturday at 7.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate it. And to the young lady, inbox me, please. Inbox me. And I got a book that I'm going to mail to you that I wrote. Matter of fact, my psychiatrist bought 100 of the books because she said it was one of the best books that she read on depression. So I'm going to send her one. So I can't send everybody one now, but this young lady, I can send her one. And y'all didn't know that Elijah in the Bible, Elijah suffered with depression. Look it up, study it.
But Reverend Coleman, let me get one for my church member.
Okay.
So I'm going to get a book, and
Okay.
I'm going to give that to Sister Chastity.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll get
Sounds
with you
good.
about the book. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you again for
Okay.
having me on tonight.
Okay. It was good. I think a lot of people was helped. And if y'all want this topic to come back another time, just let me know and we'll get Pastor Ellison. And I guarantee you we'll come back on here and we'll dig some more.
We'll dig some more. That's right.
Because I think a lot of people were helped tonight.
Yes.
I really do. And thank everybody so much. I really do appreciate it. And everybody have a good night.
Okay. Right. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.